Okay, so yeah, no boobs. That's like
Yeah, it's sad. No boobs.
can like it seems like it's more frequent as we're going on.
Yeah, like the first season was littered with boobs, and
Right.
I think that's how they got a lot of people in.
I was just gonna say, is that did
Like
they use that to be like, hey, you should watch this show because there's all kinds of
boobies,
boobs?
boobies, boobies.
Uh,
And like with Daenerys, they probably went, okay, as long as you show your boobs in the first season, you never have to show them again.
she shows them all the way into the third, though. She shows them until
Yeah, fair. Like, but not as often.
no, definitely not.
Like
But
it was
it
almost
was
every
after
episode.
the third season when she said, "I'm not doing it anymore."
No more showing the boobs.
That's it. That's it. You don't get to see him anymore. You already seen him, but you can't see him ever again.
Yeah, because it's not all over the internet.
That's right. That's right. Well, on that note, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Rabble of Thrones. This week we are going to be discussing. It is called Dark Wings, Dark Words,
Oh,
the
right.
second episode of season 3.
Yes.
Oh, and I want to throw this out there.
Okay.
I have been, because season 6 is quickly approaching, I've been watching season 5 again.
Yeah.
Just to kind, because I want to watch it before 6 starts, right? Because
That's fair.
anybody who listens to this podcast knows I ragged on, I ragged on season 5 pretty hard.
You did pretty hard.
So I'm 2 episodes in, and it's not as bad as I remember.
Okay.
Now, again, nothing major has happened, and I know that was my biggest complaint, is that nothing happens.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Like, give me a couple weeks, because I'm kind of like trying to slow play it, but
Yeah.
we'll see how I feel. But as of right now, I'm like, it's not. It's not the worst thing in the world.
But it wasn't the best either, right?
Right. And I'll tell you what's weird. Going back and forth between season 3 and season 5, that's getting confusing.
Oh, yeah. Trying to figure out where you are.
Right, because it's like, oh, wait, hold on. He's still alive. No, he's not. He's dead. Oh, yeah, right? So,
Oh, damn.
I'm having an internet thing here. Your screen has frozen, and you sound
Say,
like...
I looked a little frozen there.
Yeah, okay, but I look okay?
You look fine. I can see you, which is really strange.
Now, this is bizarre.
But I see myself moving down in the little corner there.
Oh, and now I've totally fucked it all up.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Well, we'll talk through it. I'm sure it's just goddamn kids watching Netflix or some shit.
Sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches. As long as I sound okay on your end, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, perfect. Well, so we start off with Bran. And he's... Oh, there we go. Now we got video. All right. So we start off with Bran, and he's having a dream where he's shooting his bow and arrow.
He's walking around, and the first time I saw this, I was really fucking confused.
Oh, okay. You didn't realize it was a dream?
I didn't put 2 and 2 together from
Gotcha.
earlier on when he was actually dreaming and whatnot. So when he was walking around, I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah. So, and it's funny. So he's like running, and I'm like, my note, Bran, you can't run. What are you doing? So the three-eyed raven shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like on a branch, and he's aiming at it. And then Jon and Robb are now standing beside him.
Yeah, and that's when I went, oh, it's a dream.
Giving him the same advice they gave him in the first episode when they're at Winterfell. Like, right. However you shoot a bow and arrow, I don't know. You think I would know these things being native, but I really don't know how to shoot a bow and arrow.
It's not that easy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple different ways. I've done the regular way that everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And then there's the Japanese longbow.
Oh.
That's fucking hard.
Have you seen this guy that's like the crazy
like the real way to shoot a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Like the quick draw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like
that. Guy's
crazy. And like to be able to shoot 3 of them and then actually hit shit?
Right.
what you want to hit.
Right.
That was like,
That guy,
hey, dude, that's impressive.
guy's pretty crazy. So
The first few of them, I was like, you are just a nut job, and
Yeah.
then you actually,
and then you're like,
skill.
oh wait, he's actually hitting stuff.
You're actually good at this. Okay.
So so he takes a shot at the three-eyed raven and misses, and you hear John and Rob start chuckling, and then you hear Ned Stark saying, "Well, which of you were great archers at 10?" And then you realize, and then there's like a shot of the sky, and you realize like the wind is making Ned Stark's voice somehow. So
It's crazy.
yeah, so the bird flies away, and Bran turns around, and there's this kid there.
Yeah.
So
We're like, who the hell is this guy?
right, who's this kid? So Bran wakes up, and Osha's in a bad mood. And they're discussing like, what were they? Oh, like they're still heading north, and Bran says, "Oh, nobody knows we're alive," and she's like, "Well, you don't know what everybody knows. You can't possibly know that." So then we go to Rob and Talisa, and they're talking about bullshit. It was just like such a filler scene.
It was such a dumb scene.
But then Roose shows up. And
It should have just been like early, like
right.
Just show them talking and lines earlier.
Right, like cut this scene down. We don't need. There was a lot of that in this episode. Actually, a lot of like where I was like, I just stopped taking notes. I'm just like, why? None of this matters.
Yeah, I watched this, and I think I was doing dishes at the same time. I'm like, well, I could do something else and still get the gist of this episode.
Exactly. So Roose shows up, and he's got 2 scrolls, and Rob's like, well, which one's the good news and which one's the bad news?
But didn't he say, like, let me guess?
Yeah. And so we find out that Catelyn's dad, so Rob's grandfather, has died.
Yeah.
And the second note is that Theon burned down Winterfell and fled. So
like a little bitch.
Right. So Catelyn asks if, like, we're going to go to the funeral. Am I going to be your prisoner when we go to the funeral? Or, like, how is this going to work? Again, Rob's going to the funeral.
Yeah.
Gist. So, again, last thing we find out is about Theon burning down Winterfell. So then, cut to Theon, tied up. Oh, man, it gets so bad for Theon.
It gets really bad for Theon. And, like, I thought this scene was bad.
Right. This is nothing. So, he's like, what do you want? Why are you doing this to me? They don't say anything, and they just jam a knife right under his fucking fingernail.
Which, like, you look at it, oh my god! You just feel the pain. You feel it happen.
Yep. It's not a good. There's nothing good came from that.
No, that's just like that is awful torture.
So, so we go to Jaime and Brienne, and they like their discussions are all like exposition, and it's like mostly like bullshit. But he has so many good lines in these scenes that I want to write them all down, but I'm like, then I'm just writing down the script. You know what I mean? So in this scene, she's like, Jaime's like trying to figure out, well, you haven't worked for Catelyn Stark for long because I was at Winterfell and I would have seen you there and I didn't. And then so he's like, so who did you serve before? Was it Stannis? And she's like, gods no. And he's like, okay, so it was Renly. And then he figures out that she had a crush on Renly.
Yeah.
And the one line that I did write down that he said, that if the throne was made of cocks, they would have never got him off it. So
I forgot about that line.
Yeah, because he was saying how she probably didn't have a chance with him. So as they're walking through the woods, there's a dude up on the hill who sees them, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are avoiding the King's Road, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, have a good day," and keeps walking. And Jamie's like,
You got to kill that motherfucker.
"He knows who I am. You need to kill him." And
Yep.
she's like, "He's an innocent dude," and he's like more innocent than the Stark girls. And then they kind of leaves it at that, but she leaves him alone.
Bad move, man.
Bad move. So then we go to Joffrey, who's getting a new
He's getting a new suit.
Made. He doesn't want flowers. He told you he doesn't want flowers. Again, these
silly scene.
These scenes. Oh, no, the scene's not silly because this scene is very important because it shows that Cersei has completely lost control. Because she's completely lost control of him, and her fear is that Marjorie's gonna get in there and manipulate him. And later in the episode, Marjorie's super smart. But anyways, so he's talking shit like, oh, women should listen and blah blah blah, and it's like, man. Anyways, and then she makes a comment about, because there was that little piece of fabric.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you should give it to Marjorie. She could make a whole dress out of it. Because she wears almost no clothing.
Because she's a whore.
Because she dresses like a harlot for a reason. She's a harlot. So, where were we here? Oh, yeah. And then we get the Sansa Shae scene.
Oh.
Yep. And so, Shae's telling Sansa, like, you need to be careful around Littlefinger. Men only want one thing from pretty girls. And then she's like, if he tries to do something to you, you tell him. And she's like, why? Or tell me. And she's like, why? What are you going to do? She's like, I'll make him stop. So you get the sense that Shae, like, really does care about Sansa. Like, she really does.
Yeah.
So.
Or does she? But who knows?
I think she does. Like, why would she say it? Why? She's got nothing to gain from that.
I guess.
So, as they're talking, Loras shows up and tells Sansa, like, hey, my sister and my grandmother want to meet you and talk to you.
Let's go down to the gardens.
Let's go to
you.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, I don't know if you remember, we met before. You gave me a rose. And he's like, whatever.
Yeah, sure, I remember.
You're not
all the ladies.
You're not a dude. I'm not interested.
Where's your cack?
So, he walks her to the garden and meets up with Marjorie, and we meet Elena. It's Elena, right?
I believe so.
And god damn it, she just steals every scene she's in. Like, she's so good.
Yeah, Olenna,
sorry.
Olenna.
Olenna. All right.
Olenna.
I won't screw it up again. Yes, I will. So they want to know. Yeah. They want to know what Joffrey's like.
Yeah.
And, Sansa obviously doesn't want to say anything.
Doesn't want to say the truth.
Right.
Right? Like, she's scared to say.
So she starts.
Really
so she starts telling them about how he ordered them to chop off Ned's head. She's like, he said he would give mercy, and that was his mercy. And then she tells them how he made her look at the head on the spike, and then she kind of backs off, and she's like, but he was a traitor, and my brother's a traitor, and this and that. And they're like, listen, we're not gonna say anything. Tell us what he's like. And she's like, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So then we go to this heading to the grandpa's funeral, and it's Karstark and Rob sitting there talking, and Karstark's like, this is a waste of time. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, we're fighting a war. And Rob makes a comment about, you're not believing in me anymore and things like that. And Karstark looks at Talisa like coming down the hill on her horse, and he's like, "You lost the war the day you married her."
Yeah.
So, so then we get the Talisa Catelyn chat.
Yeah.
This was a really good scene, and from what I understand, not in the books.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So Catelyn's
It was a good mother and daughter-in-law scene.
right. And so she tells her the story of she's making some I don't know, some
Quilty,
looks like a dream catcher kind of thing.
yeah, thing.
So, and Talisa's like, "Hey, I can help you if you want." And she's like, "No, only a mother can make this."
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Well, do they work?" And she's like, "Well, when the boys were young, one of them got really sick, and so I made this, blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Oh, which boy?" And she's like, "Jon Snow." And so she tells the story about how, when Ned brought home Jon Snow, she hated him, like hated that kid, and rightfully so. Like, I mean, this is the personification of Ned Stark being unfaithful.
Yeah.
Right? So like this little baby represents your husband banging another broad.
Yeah.
No one's going to like that. So
yeah. God no.
So she says, I prayed to the gods that he would get sick and die. Like, just take him away, get rid of him, and then he gets sick. So then now she feels awful because, like, why would she want a little baby to die? Like, he didn't do anything wrong. So she says, she prays to the gods, and I'll take care of him like he's my own. Just make him better. I'll make Ned give him the Stark name, and that'll be that. And so he got better, but she couldn't fulfill her end of the promise.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, that's still, the representation of Ned Stark banging another broad. It was like it's a great.
It was a great scene. It was one of the best in this episode.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely, and like, I mean, you put yourself in Catelyn's like perspective, and how could you like that kid? Like, that kid is, oh man, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like if you think about it, like it's like you coming home with a kid.
Yeah. Oh hey, by the way,
like we're this is my son with somebody else, and we're now taking care of it.
Yeah, we got to take care of it. So could you like feed him and stuff? He needs a sandwich. Yeah. He needs a sandwich. He likes he likes the crust cut off.
He only eats peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, that's it. Crust cut off. Where are we here? Fuck, I lost my spot.
Oh my god.
I lost my spot.
We gotta rely on you to run this show.
I know, right? Oh, here we go. Okay. Then we go to Mance Rayder and Jon Snow.
Yes. Beyond the Wall.
Right. Talking about killing Corrin. And then so basically Mance is just telling him like, hey, I united 90 tribes, and these guys hate these guys, and these guys hate these other guys, and this guy hates this guy, and they all hate the cave people. And then he's like, how I got all of them to work together? I told them that if they don't get south, we're all gonna die.
Yep.
So then they're walking along, and it's like, oh hey, here's this guy with his eyes all white looking up in the sky. It's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, he's a warg. And Ygritte's like, never seen a warg before? And he's like, no, I don't think I have. So
nothing.
So he like snaps out of it, and they're like, "Oh, where were you this time?" He's like, "I was at the Fist of the First Men," and he's like, "Oh, what did you see?" Dead crows. And so then we flip over to Sam and the boys walking along, and there's that douche guy whose name I don't know, and he's just talking shit to Sam the whole time, like, "Oh, 200 brothers died back there, and you're still alive. That doesn't seem right." And like, why don't you just give up now? So Sam just kind of like drops down,
drops to his knees, and says,
he's
"Fuck
like,
it,
fuck it. You're right. I'm just gonna give up."
I'll just give up."
So Gren and I can never remember the other guy's name. Anyways, they go back and they're like, "Yo,
Ed."
That's right. Gren
And the other guy's name is Rast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one's Gren? Am I just making up a name now?
No, Gren and Ed are like his buddies.
Oh, the douchebag guy is Rast.
Douchebag is Rast.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, so they go and pick him up, and they're like, you gotta keep moving. Don't do this. And he's crying, and this is like my I hate Sam moment. Like, just fucking
just suck it up and let's go.
Be a man. So then Mormont comes back, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you guys doing?" And he says to Sam, he's like, "I forbid you to die." And then he tells Rask, he's like, "He's your responsibility. If he dies, it's on you."
Yeah, I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. So, then we go back to Bran and Osha, and I always forget Bran's fucking wolf's name.
Summer, isn't it?
Summer. Yes, it is. I'm an idiot.
Like, come on now.
So, Osha hears something, and I think Bran was sleeping, or he was like, whatever. I mean, I guess when you don't have much to do.
Yeah, he was kind of laying there.
Right.
I don't know whether he was sleeping or not, but he was just laying there.
So Osha hears the sound, and she's like got her little spear, and Summer starts like losing it, like growling, and then boom, the kid from his dream shows up. So he shows up, and the dog's growling, and Osha comes up behind him and puts the spear to the back of his neck. And he's like, "I'm unarmed," and she's like, and Osha's like, "That's not very smart." And he's like, "Well, my sister usually carries the weapons." And then boom, Osha now has a knife to her neck.
It was a great fucking line.
It was good. So they introduce themselves. It's Jojen and Mira. Reed, I believe, is their last name. Yes,
that is correct.
And so Jojen basically, oh no, that's it. Yeah, they go into it later.
Yeah, it's in the
next scene, right? So then we go to Gendry and Arya and Hot Pie walking, just the three best pals walking through the forest.
The three best friends that anyone can have.
And Gendry's like giving her shit. He could have killed anybody. You could have said Joffrey. You could have said Tywin Lannister. Could have ended the war. She's like, "We got out. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, we're free right now.
Stop your bitching."
Yeah, I fucking
stop asking questions and just be thankful that we're alive.
So then they get up near, or no, she's like, "If we're going north, we should have hit this river by now, whatever river it is." And Hot Pie's like, "Oh, maybe we missed it." She's like, "It's 100 feet wide."
Yeah, we didn't miss it.
We didn't miss it. So then they're near a road and they hear singing. And I believe it was the Rains of Castamere, was it not? It sounded very much like he was singing the Rains of Castamere.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
it was. You're correct.
Whew, man, I'm good.
Good for you.
Now, his name. What is that gentleman's name? I cannot remember.
Thoros of Myr?
Thoros, that's it. So, they try to hide
Yeah, which doesn't go well.
but doesn't go well. So Arya like kind of stands up to him, and she's like, you know, you just keep on going down the road, keep singing, and you won't get hurt.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, so you're and he's got like 20 guys with him,
Yeah.
and so. You know, and then the guy does the thing with the arrow where he shoots it up in the air and it's going to hit Hot Pie if he doesn't move. Whatever. And so basically he's like, listen, you come with us, have a meal, and then you guys are free to go. And they're like, all right. And
That's good to me.
And then Hot Pie's like trying to climb over the rock and they're like, half the country's starving. Look at this one. And then the other guy's like, maybe he's the reason half the country's starving. I thought it was such a good joke. Oh man, so they F off, and that's the end of that. So then Shay is waiting for Tyrion, and he's like, I told you, you can't be here.
Another stupid scene.
But the thing I like about this scene is it sets up stuff later on. So
yeah, it's needed for sure, but
because he, you know, she tells him about Roz saying, "Watch out for Littlefinger."
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh, he's like, which girl?" And she's like, you know," and he's like, "Oh, the redhead Roz," and she's like, "Yeah, how do you know who she is?"
Well, I fucked her.
And she's like, oh, you know, gets all angry. And then you know, after he kind of cools her down with that, he tells her about how Sansa's pretty. And she gets super jealous about that.
Yeah.
So this, like, to me, sets up the whole thing. So now in my brain, here's the way I'm thinking.
Okay.
Or in Shay's brain, now Tyrion's planted the seed that he finds Sansa attractive.
Sure.
So now when spoiler, when they set up the marriage between him and Sansa,
right,
in Shay's brain, now he's got what he wanted.
Sure.
And this all leads to her not being, you know, like, It doesn't make a lot of sense but she's stupid, and we've gone with this from the beginning, is that she is an idiot and just literally can't see 2 feet in front of her. But this, I think this sets up that whole jealousy with Sansa.
Yeah.
And I think that leads to her fucking him over ultimately at the end.
Sure. Yeah.
And it all starts right here. So.
Yeah.
So then Marjorie goes to see Joffrey, and he's stroking his brand new crossbow. And so they start talking about, you know, her being with Renly, and you know, she's like, well, I was just doing my wifely duties. You know, like, yes, he was a traitor, but I was told that that's who I had to marry, and as his wife, I have responsibilities. And he's like, well, you know, what responsibilities? She's like, well, you know, having kids. And he's like, but you didn't have any kids. And
oh, snap.
And, you know, and she's like, well, he always had late night meetings, and I don't know if he was really into me or girls. And she's like, well, there was this one time when he had too much wine, and
he stick it in my butt.
Yeah, he suggested we do butt stuff. And so, you know, Joffrey's like, well, I was thinking about having his perversion punishable by death. And she's like, yeah, you could do that. You're the king. You do whatever you want. And so then he, like, shows her the crossbow, and like, it's so easy to load, and you know,
la-di-da-di-da,
right. And then she does the smart thing. She's like, because then she realizes, you know, okay, Sansa says he's a monster, so he wants to kill things, so now I'm gonna play into that. And she's like, it's got to be really cool standing here pulling this trigger and watching something die over there.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that is cool. And then she's like, do you want to see me kill something? And he's like, yeah. Like she just figured him out. Like that's it. She figured him out, and now she's in.
Yep.
She knows his thing, and she's in. She's super smart.
Let's go hunting.
Let's go hunting. Yeah. Oh, my father never allowed me to. Well, you don't belong to him anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
mine now.
yeah,
Woman.
yep. So butt stuff. Yep. She plays into his crazy. Okay, so now we go back to Theon,
Yeah.
and they're okay. Were they drilling that into his foot, or did they have a board on top and they were just pressing it? I couldn't tell.
You know what? I couldn't tell either.
Because I think it was just they were pressing it, like crushing his foot, but I don't know. So
I wasn't sure. Either that or like they were twisting it or they were doing something.
So they're crushing his foot
That was clearly
or
painful.
drilling into his foot. Whatever it was, it sucked. And they're asking him, like, why did you take Winterfell? And he's like, giving them all kinds of answers. And they're like, we want the truth. Why did you take Winterfell? And he keeps like, I did it for myself. I did it for glory, blah, 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 and just saying bullshit. I did it because I hated the Starks and what they did to me. And so they put the bag over his head and they leave. Give it a little turn before they leave as well, which was
a little extra crank.
Right. And there's a dude in the back kind of sweeping up. And he takes the hood off and he's like, my sister sent you. And he loosens the thing on his foot. He's like, your sister sent me. I'm going to get you out of here tonight. And he's like, no, don't leave me. And he leaves. Wonder who that guy could be. Seems like a good guy.
Seems like a good guy.
Seems like a great dude.
And I mean, he's very trustworthy, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I trust him already.
Yeah.
So, okay, now, I don't know, did you notice, as the camera was panning out from that scene, you could see through the door, right? And they have Theon strapped up to the X, and it was exactly the flayed man, like the Bolton sigil. Exactly. Yeah. And I wonder, I know I didn't catch it the first time. But like,
yeah, I don't know if I caught it the first time either, but like every time you see him on it, you're like, okay, that's an X. That's exactly like the sigil.
Right. How did I not put two and two together?
Yeah.
Like it's just
it's the little things you don't see the first time.
You just don't see it, and that's what makes rewatching it so good, because it's like, how did I not see this? The whole red wedding is being set up right now. Like, we're watching all the groundwork being put in for the red wedding. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. But like, all of these conversations with Roose, with Karstark, all of this stuff is setting up. Like, it's and there's so much.
The fact that he said, like Karstark said, like, you lost the war when you married her,
and he's absolutely right. That was the thing.
Game over, man.
Game over, man.
Game over.
So we go to Jojen and Bran talking as they're trudging along, and Jojen tells Bran that he's a warg. Which I guess this is the first time we've heard that term, right? This is the first episode we hear warg, yeah. Okay. So,
as far as I remember.
Yeah, so then he talks about the three-eyed raven, and he's like, well, the three-eyed raven, that's different. He's like, that's the sight.
Yeah.
So you can see things that haven't happened, or that are gonna happen, or happened in the past, or are happening elsewhere.
Because it's you.
Right. That's right. You can't kill it because it's you. That's right. And then he says that his dad was Hayland Reed, and he saved Ned Stark's life during the rebellion. And I guess, knowing what I know, he was at the Tower of Joy, right? So, and because, now that Mira's back in, and I see her, and I'm like, man, this is like that whole theory of her and Jon being related. Like, she looks like Jon.
Yeah.
So, um,
Crazy.
yeah. So then, and then Osha and Mira are talking, and Osha's like, "Oh, a boy having a girl do his fighting for him," and Mira's like, just because someone can't fight doesn't mean they're not worth fighting for. And it's like, and it's perfect because it like completely mirrors, because Osha's taking care of Bran, who can't fight for himself, and
Yeah.
Mira's taking care of Jojen. It's like exactly the same. They're the same. They're doing the exact same job.
Yep.
So, um, so then we go back to the Brotherhood Without Banners, who I forgot to mention. That's who. What's his name again? What was that guy's name? Fuck.
Thoros.
Thoros, yes. So Thoros is with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and so they're So they're eating, and he's telling stories and talking about drinking ale, and for some reason Arya decides to get up and pull her sword on him, and I'm foggy as to why now. I can't even.
I think because she said something about, yeah, I know how to use it.
Oh, that's right. My brother. That's right, because he was asking, how did you guys get Castle Forge steel? And it's like, well, he was Gendry's. Yeah.
And I know how to use it because my dad.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right. So then she, flails her sword around, and he very easily disarms her.
Yeah, with a little tap.
So, and then, they sit back down, and he's like I said before, finish your meal. You're probably not going to have another one for a while. And then you guys are free to go. And so Arya's like, yeah, let's just bolt now. So she, like, hey, let's go. So they get up, and just as they start to walk towards the door, a bunch of dudes burst in with a really tall guy, with a bag over his head.
Yeah.
And they take the bag off, and it's the Hound.
The Hound.
And Arya sees him and kind of turns, right? And then she starts walking, and the Hound looks over, and he's like, what are you guys doing with the Stark bitch? So, and that was that. Clearly, she's not getting out of that door, though.
Nope.
So...
You ain't going nowhere. Where are
Jaime,
you going?
Nowhere. So, my note here says, Jaime's such a dick. So she's trying to decide whether they should take the bridge or cross the river.
Yeah, and Jaime's just egging her on.
So she decides, I guess, that they're going to take the bridge.
Yeah.
And I thought this scene happened last season. I forgot that this was like how they get captured.
This is how they get captured, yeah.
Yeah. So they're crossing the bridge, and they get pretty much halfway across, and Jaime like falls over. He's like, "Oh, I got corns on my feet," and she's like, "You got to get up, like let's go. You got to fucking move your ass." And she goes to like pick him up, and he grabs her sword.
Yeah, one of her two swords.
And he makes reference. He's like, "I always wondered why people carried two swords," and so cuts the rope, and now it's on.
It's on like Donkey Kong,
and she kicks his fucking ass.
Yep.
Now, I'll give him that his hands are bound.
They're tied still, yeah.
But for someone who's supposed to be this great fighter,
a hot shot of a fighter,
who says to her during the fight, don't what does he say? Don't grimace or don't.
Yeah, it was don't you do something to gives it away.
Don't grimace before you strike, because we can see it coming. He does it every time. He does the exact thing he tells her not to do. It's like, aren't you supposed to be this great warrior? And she fucking demolishes him.
Yeah.
And especially at the end, like she just knocks the sword right out of his hand.
Yeah.
And then
a bunch of horses show
up. And they got the Bolton banners.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, is this... They pull out the guy that they saw on the road earlier, And they're like, "Is this the dude?" And he's like, "Oh, yep." And they're like, "Okay, here's your money. Get out of here." And that's it.
Well, and then they have a little discussion of Jamie says, "I'll give
Oh,
you
right.
whatever you want."
Right. Yeah.
And,
My father.
Locke, the guy that's leading the group, says, "Can you get me a second head?
Yeah.
Because if I let you go, they're gonna have my head."
Right.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, and I'd rather see them take your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we get the credits.
Yeah, and then that's it.
And then we get the credits. So, good like setup episode. Like not much happens in this one. It's all kind of it's all kind of set up. That's so I don't know if you saw it or not, Tyler, but they released a trailer last night.
Oh, did they ever?
They sure did. I'm glad we waited till today to record.
Because it would have been a week holding that in.
Right. Because it would have come out after we were done recording. So let's go through it. Basically, it's the inside the house of Black and White.
Yep.
And it's the
the
room
hall of all the faces
with all the faces, and they show they start with Ned, and you hear him you hear stuff he's said, and then
Rob,
and then Rob, and then Catelyn,
and then Catelyn,
and then Jon
I think
Snow.
get Jon.
Yep. And then it pans down.
Yeah.
And then we see Tyrion.
Yep.
And if you look to the right beside Tyrion, there was Daenerys. And there was a couple others, and I'm like, okay, so I'm really confused. Because it's like, yes, these first bunch were all dead people.
Yeah.
And now you're not. Now you're showing alive people. So it's like,
or are they alive people?
Or are they? Or I don't know. But it was a good trailer. I love that it didn't give away anything. Did we talk about the pictures on the last episode?
I don't believe we did.
Because those came out after too, right?
No, I think those came out afterwards as well. Yeah, because a lot of pictures of people on set, in scene, in character.
Oh yeah, these are like shot. I would assume they're shots from the show.
Yeah, and Game of Thrones released them. So.
Right. So, Bran looks super old.
Super old. We haven't seen the kid in 3 freaking years.
Well, it's been 1 year, but okay.
Sorry.
And then he was clearly standing beside Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that. I would assume that that's going to be a dream or a three-eyed raven thing. Daenerys has a necklace on.
I think that picture is titled something, and he is playing the three-eyed raven.
Who is?
The guy that Bran is with.
Max von Sydow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, I'll have to look that up again.
And then we've got Daenerys with the necklace, which is either a snake or a dragon. I can't really tell.
Yeah, Max von Sydow as the three-eyed raven.
So he's playing the three-eyed raven.
So it's which is, I don't know.
And then we've got pictures of blind Arya.
Yeah, which are freaking creepy as hell. Oh wait,
hold on, shit! They released more pictures. I didn't see these ones. Okay, so blind Arya, and then I assume that's a dragon. It looks like a dragon. And then a picture of Sansa kind of beat up.
Yeah.
And then a picture of Tyrion drinking wine. And then there's another picture of Daenerys with her hands bound with a bunch of Dothraki dudes. So, like I had surmised from last season, it's not going to be good for her, at least at the beginning of this season.
No, it's not going to be good.
So,
I'm really excited.
I'm getting more and more excited. I hope that it's better than last season. Oh, there was another picture. There was a picture of Jamie with Mycella's body.
Yeah, and then there's another picture of them doing the whole burial thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, with him and Tommen.
Yeah.
Jamie and Tommen. Yep. And there is a picture of Yara.
Yeah, and there's a couple pictures of the High Sparrow.
Yeah. And and then there's my my red lady.
Yeah, and still at the wall.
Still at the wall. But yeah, I'm lots of stuff's coming out. I hope they keep this pace up. Like, give us something every couple weeks. So hopefully not too much. So don't give me too much.
Not too much, but keep us involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that trailer. If you guys have not seen, that
definitely check it out.
Go check it out. Like, it's like teaser full.
Yeah,
and it is just fantastic.
It is very good.
I'm gonna watch it again in a second, I think.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got for this week. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for watching this week or listening. Hey, if I don't know if you know this or not, but you can check us out on Facebook.
Whoa.
Facebook.com/Rabble of Thrones. You can check us out on Twitter at Rabble of Thrones. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/RabblePress.
We've got our own playlist there.
We do. Rabble of Thrones playlist. You just click that. You can watch. You can look at our mugs talking about Game of Thrones. It's pretty sweet.
Every single episode up until now.
That's right. And you could just go to rabbleofthrones.com and get to all of that stuff.
Yeah, you can find us on iTunes.
And please, if you're enjoying this podcast, go to iTunes right now. Find Rabble of Thrones, click rate, and give us 5 stars. And then comment, write something. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
You can give us 2 stars too if you like.
Give us 1 star.
Write
give
us
something. Any stars.
And
write something. Yes, please. Please let us know.
If you're on one of these Android devices and you don't have the iTunes,
you can use Stitcher.
You can use Stitcher, which is finally back up. It was down for like 3 days.
Perfect. Or you can use... Is Google Play up yet?
You know what? I don't know if Google Play's doing it yet.
But guess what? We'll be on there when it is.
When Google Play starts doing the podcast, we're right in there. Or you can actually do the whole fancy thing and email us. Podcast at rabbleofthrones.com.
At rabbleofthrones.com.
Or go to rabbleofthrones.com/contact and fill out the form.
I'll get it either way. And I'll read it live on air.
Woohoo!
That's right. So, anyways, now that I've done all that,